Najee Harris, bottom of your screen. Pickett looking the other way, throwing end zone, wide open, caught! Touchdown! Connor Hayward! And boy, is that sweet! His first NFL touchdown.
Welcome back to 5-Star Matchup. If you like what we do, please make sure you're subscribed now and consider joining us on Patreon to support the show. With wins in 2 of their last 3 games, your Pittsburgh Steelers are here to remind you that no matter how you slice it, September was a waste of time. Take, for example, the young quarterback Kenny Pickett, who, since his Week 4 ascension to the starting lineup, has gradually gotten better and better, with his turnovers especially growing fewer and farther between. On the road for a second straight week, do the Steelers have what it takes to continue their sweep of the NFC South? Start this one off with the Steelers' suddenly burgeoning run game, and Najee would go on to have one of his most consistent games of the year. Nice conversion on a little dipsy-do handoff to the wrecking ball that is Derek Watt, and the Steelers are on the move. Ruh-roh. Very scary almost oops as Kenny gets hit as he throws, but the ball falls harmlessly to the ground and his arm remains thankfully intact. Pickett continues to be nails on third downs, and here he fires a laser out to the Muth man, and say what you want, but Matt Canada might be talking himself into a job next year. Oh, but his arm isn't strong enough, Steve. Really? Are you sure? Because here Kenny fires a 4-seamer that would make Jacob deGrom proud, but unfortunately the Pirate Steven Sims can't hang on after a review. Kenny smartly grabs half of it back, and on third and convertible, he puts the top down and fires a strike to the 3rd or 4th best tight end in the league right now. Kenny is feeling himself early on. Absolutely otherworldly effort from the Najee man on what should be a gain of nothing, but instead goes for 5, and it's another 3rd and mini conversion, this time by the K-man himself, and the Steelers are googling how to tie a tie as they border on the business zone. Unfortunately, Kenny makes a bonkers predetermined read and gets absolutely walloped for a huge loss on first, and misfires on third, setting up Matthew half left, half right, who sneaks it in off the bounce for a second time in 6 days. Bravo. Steelers 3, Falcons nothing. Over to Super Mario and the Falcons, and not fearing the Steelers' Koopa and Goomba defense, he takes his time to hit the good-looking rookie Drake London for a gainer. 2nd and 7, and it's a handoff to the ageless wonder Cordero Patterson, who I've always wanted on my team. Gotta respect a dude like that. Slick, and I do mean slick swap by my man on the button Sutton to slap this one away from the very same rookie. A pair of penalties and a completion short of the sticks, and this one for the birds in black. As you know, a punt is rarely a good thing on this show, and here it's me losing my patience with Steven Sims, who seems to bobble just about everything he touches. Is it time to look back to Gunner? I just love this play from KP. It's anything but spectacular, but he takes as much time as possible to look downfield and eventually settles on tucking it and running for an easy 9 on first. You'll love to see it. Unfortunately for the Falcons, ain't nobody stopping the Najee man on this day, and here he bounces some poor jabroni's skull off the turf on his way to a very angry first down. More exciting little things from the quarterback in that number 8 jersey, who uses his speed and agility to escape the crumbling pocket and find the rumbling fullback for a brief gainer on first. Steelers just keeping it moving as Pickett continues to look better and better. Look at the lead block here by the returning Jaylen Warren, who springs forth Steve Sims for a very Canadian first down on the ground. Time ticking in the first, and Kenny P's just chillin' and grillin' in the pocket before he flicks out an easy one to DJ, who lovingly runs dead ahead for yet another first down. Go Najee, go! It's a Najee man continuing his late season ascent for the 2nd time in as many years, and it's just a shame that the turf monster nips his heels, or he might well have hurdled a dude or two and jumped into the end zone. 2nd and 11, and it's more than enough time in the pocket for Pickett, who fires deep middle. I love it, but just a little too high and out of the reach for the Muth man, missing what should have been a 28-yard score. That's okay though, because on 3rd and 11, it's his number 1 man, Deontay Johnson, who's wide open and can't make the catch. Mini Boz continues to prove me wrong by drilling a 46-yard kick, but the Steelers, despite dominating to this point, are only up a measly 6-0. Too bad this isn't soccer. Back to the flightless Falcons, who prefer to chug it on the ground, and chug it they do as Algier takes this one and flaps for a huge gainer to vitalize the birds. Tepid pass rush gives Mariota so much time that he finds a dude with a jersey number in the 40s, never a good sign, and the Falcons are officially responding. I see London, I see France, I see the Steelers underpants. Again, it's Drake London beating the Steelers soft zone for another chunk. But a few plays later on 3rd and forever, it's son of Hayward, that man we call kdka, who's dragging down the quarterback for the drive-killing sack. Younghoe Koo connects from 50 and the Falcons are on the board, 6-3. Back to the Steelers' Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle-led offense, and here it's Kenny P donning the half shell and absolutely firing a ninja star of a pass to the man they call who refuses to go down and rumbles for a gigantic gainer. I've got to assume this is the longest play of Pat's career to this point, and man does he just keep getting better and better. Serious question, how many tight ends would you take over him right now?
Kelsey, Kittle, Andrews?
Bueller.
That's what I thought. 1st and 15, Safari Hat Matt draws up maybe his best red zone play of the season, and it's none other than Bowser Jr., aka Connor Hayward, with a hell of an out and up route and snag for 6 by way of Kenny Pickett's laser arm. Just an incredible pitch and catch between the pair of Steelers rookies, and finally they break through in the red zone. Steelers 13, Falcons 3. Back to Marcus, I should have been a Mariota, and it's that incredibly pesky rookie Drake, and I don't mean the overrated rapper, screaming past Levi Wallace for a penalty and a field-flipping catch. Awesome play and run support by the ever-awesome Minkman, who fires down, reflecting shades of Troy Polamalu, and the Falcons find themselves where they never want to be, behind the 8 ball. 2nd and long, Mariota does what he does, scrambling to buy time before chucking up a prayer, but as per usual, Cameron is on the button, and Sutton deads this one after covering for about a half an hour. Mariota takes a few back on 3rd, and the Steelers are happy to oblige. The consistent Koo connects from 51, and it's a touchdown game. Steelers 13, Falcons 6. Moving and picking, it's Kenny P hitting his man DJ, who was open all day today, and the Steelers are threatening to go a whole half without punting. 2nd and 4 now, and goddamn does it feel good to have a running game again. For years now, carries like this have seemed impossible. Not anymore. Piled firmly under things you'd love to see more, the Najee lines up out wide for a screen pass and throws another stiff arm on his way to a first. More things you love to fucking see from Kenny P. Pocket collapses on him, but instead of panicking and firing or darting forward, he breaks loose to extend the play, but when he can't find an option, he safely tosses it away. Live to fight another down. We love it for the Rook. 3rd and 7, it's more of the same for the wheelin' and dealin' QB, but unfortunately the seemingly visually challenged Steven Sims steps out of bounds before making a great catch, and this drive is deader than my appetite when my stepmother cooks. Fortunately, Wright continues his dominance and connects from the 48, but still, after a great half, the Steelers' lead is just a meager 10. Mariota hits a couple against the soft zone defense to get across midfield, but unfortunately for Atlanta, the Falcons' passing game is less interesting than Joe Buck and Troy Aikman calling an AFC matchup, and the Falcons meekly punt it back. Steelers grab a few more on the ground for good measure, and we head into the half with the score still, Steelers 16, Falcons 6. Hello, lovely and amazing 5-star viewers. I can't thank you guys enough for your tremendous support of this show now in its 4th season. You guys make this immense amount of effort and the fact that I'm currently recording this at 2 a.m. completely worth it. If you're able, I would really appreciate it if you considered supporting the show on Patreon for just $4 or $7 a month. It's not a whole lot, but every little bit helps, and as many of you know, we don't get ad revenue on this show. You can do that over at patreon.com/5SMU, but even if you don't, we still appreciate you watching. Now roll the game. After possibly their most complete half of the season, do the Steelers have it in them to go 60? Absolutely awesome tackle here by the criminally underrated Terrell Edmunds, who reaches with everything he's got to grab Cordarrelle Patterson from behind. Would have been a long gainer if it weren't for Cookie's favorite son. More of the ground game for the Birds, who seem to know little else, gets him to an easy 3rd, which Marcus converts on the sneak. But as we've seen repeatedly, the Falcon passing game is completely hapless, and the Dirty Birds flock off the field, muddied and lame. More run game action for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you just can't understand how excited I am about this. This line is really starting to come together, and Najee is really getting better late in the season, just like he did last year. Confusing, but impressive for the 2nd year back. A few plays later, the Benny Snell football redemption tour continues with a typical downhill conversion, and the Steelers' shockingly balanced offense is humming. I guess the Falcons must have been reading Twitter when it comes to Diontae Johnson, because they don't even bother to look at him, and here he makes them pay with another wide open catch and straight ahead run for a first. Can you just look at Dotson, Cole, and Gentry blocking on this play? Dare I say this team is seriously starting to get it? Falcons' weak pass defense is almost as bad as their pathetic pass offense, and here none other than Benny the Bull breaks free and chugs for another time-chewing first, tack on a horse collar, and in my humble opinion, your Pittsburgh Steelers are fucking dominating right now. 2nd and 13, and it's Kenny P looking for his man of the day, Deontay J, who can't quite scoop this one over the defender's back. Looks to me like he threw this the way you would for a Pickens, but for a Deontay, maybe you just want to lead him deep. Either way, it's another missed opportunity for the boys in white and gold. Eventually, Matt Wright connects for his 4th of the day, but the sizzling Steelers leave themselves with a very precarious 13-point lead. Steelers 19, Falcons 6. George Pickens whines and moans while haters blame DJ, and it's back to the Falcons with their wings against the wall. It's a pair of ground game gashes for the omnipresent Patterson, and didn't you just know this game was gonna get close? I feel like we've been watching the same game on repeat for 2 years now. Falcons don't even pretend they're gonna pass, and why would they? It's another chunk outside the numbers for Cordero. Man, when are the Steelers gonna get anybody to play middle linebacker at a high level again? And the Falcons are moving and shaking into the business zone. Another tote for Cordero gets the birds inside the 10, and on the next play, the play action that you just knew was coming burns them for 6 as Mariota connects with Pruitt, who dives in for the score, and suddenly this game is getting hairier than a hornet's nest. All right, Matty C, gotta put a drive together. What do you got? Oh, hand off to Gunner, cool. And we head into the 4th and final stanza. 3rd and 8, and did somebody say Deontay? Almost oops, negated by actual oops here for the mystifying and beautiful Diontae Johnson, who, in the most Diontae Johnson way possible, avoids a fumble by dropping the pass. Steelers live to fight another series. Do the Falcons even have any receivers not named Drake London? Clearly not, as Mariota finds his man once more to get him in motion. Marcus calls his own number on 2nd and schmedium, and to set up a gotta have it 3rd, it's a spicy play call from the creative Falcons, who toss it out for a well-done conversion. Sticking with the run game, it's another tote for Algier, who grabs 7 on 1st, but only 2 on 3rd, and the Falcons find themselves in a 4th and 1 in no man's land. Just a tick slower than his normal superhuman speed, Trent Jordan can't quite get there in time, and Algier picks up the 1st to keep Atlanta in business. This death by paper cuts drive is becoming excruciating. Another pair of gallops by Cordero the Barrel, and the Falcons are chewing just as much clock as they are yards. 3rd and 1, and they finally trust their passing game, and Super Mario rewards them with an earth-shattering ground pound of a pass to the sliding tight end Ferkser to put his team in the driver's seat for the first time today. Because this game is a carbon copy of last week's, Patterson takes this one and takes a leisurely stroll through the neighborhood that Mr. Rogers would be jealous of, and the Falcons take the... But wait, there's more! Life-changing hold call against the Falcons knocks this staggering drive on its ass, and ultimately Mariota can't connect with London in the end zone, which I humbly have to admit looks a little bit like a PI to me, but it isn't called, and after chewing an eternity off the clock, the flightless Falcons take 3 before sending it back to Kenny P. Steelers 19, Falcons 16. 1st and 10, and thank God the Steelers show some confidence in their rookie signal caller as they sling it on 1st for a huge 8 to get this drive moving in the right direction. Because it's just a Najee kind of day, the young king trips over that damn turf monster again. Can we please get grass in all stadiums? But he still grabs the 1st, and let's hope the Steelers never give this ball back. More with the ground game for the suddenly chug-a-lugging Pittsburgh Steelers, and as I mentioned earlier, it really is an amazing proposition that for the 2nd year in a row, Harris has gotten better as the season has worn on. Just a few little sharp jump cuts from the man we call BSFB, and the Steelers are already at the logo as the clock ticks under 3. I don't love this play call, another run to Gunner, but he's smart to keep himself in bounds and keep the all-important clock ticking. The somewhat confused first-year coach, Art Smith, declines to use the first of his 3 timeouts as the clock ticks from 2:37 to the 2-minute warning, and the Steelers inch closer to victory. 2nd and 8, and again it's the Steelers putting their trust in their main man Kenny Powers, who promptly rewards them with a "you're f***ing out," hitting Deontay in stride for the crucial and near game-sealing 1st. With their timeouts still in hand though, the Falcons can do what they can to sneak one last possession if they play their cards right. Najee grabs a bunch on first, but nothing on second. And facing a third and medium, Kenny pulls it out and dashes for the edge, but can find no room to roam. Smartly, he downs himself in the field of play, and the ever-talking clock continues to tick away. Somewhat surprisingly, the Steelers decline a field goal attempt, instead taking the delay of game and trotting out Presley Harvin for the
5-star
Play of the game?
Harvin trying to pin the Falcons deep. Williams is back there. He lets it go over his head. Bounces at the one, and it's downed right there.
Yes, you heard it right. The play of the game was none other than an absolutely perfect punt off the leg of young Presley the Thick, the much maligned second-year punter that yours truly has been immensely hard on through his first 2 seasons. Boykin downs it at the 2, and the Falcons are faced with 98 yards to go in 42 seconds with no timeouts. Good luck. Unfortunately for the Dirty Birds, it's an immediate ugly clucker from the wobbly wing of Marcus Mariota, landing safely in the hands of the best safety in football, Minkah Fitzpatrick, to seal the fates on this day of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Atlanta Falcons. Say it with me, your Pittsburgh Steelers are 5-7. Suddenly, this young team is rounding into form just as December is hitting, with wins in 3 of their last 4. The rookie quarterback, who's admittedly struggled at times, finds his record evening out at 4-4, and who's on the docket but a potentially Action Jackson-less Baltimore Ravens, followed by the paltry Panthers. While I don't want you to get your hopes up too high, I do have to be the first to inform you there's currently an extremely real chance that this once left-for-dead Steelers team could find themselves at a stunningly even 7-7 in 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm not sounding the playoff horn yet, there's just too much that needs to happen. But in the last month, we've seen this team go from a top 5 draft pick to potentially appearing under in the hunt on all of these playoff graphics for the next month. Say what you want about lowering the draft pick or anything like that, but I look around this league at teams like the Raiders, Jaguars, or Chargers who have spent incredible amounts of capital like high draft picks and expensive trades to essentially end up in the same or worse position than the now upward swinging Pittsburgh Steelers have found themselves in. Am I about to say it? Yeah, I'm about to say it. For the first time in 2022, I'm proud of my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. They're improving every week, possessing the ball on offense, minimizing damage on defense, and even suddenly getting winning contributions from special teams. Combine that with the game finally slowing down for the first-year signal caller, and you have to like a lot of what we're seeing from the Berg boys in the last month. They're not contenders yet, but they're certainly headed in the right direction. And ready or not, the first skin in the game AFC North battle for Kenny Pickett is next week back home at Acrisure. Will the Steelers keep that arrow pointed up? Only one way to find out. Here we go. If you're still here, I know it's because you love the show. And if that's the case, I can't thank you enough. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube for sure, but if you'd like to go above and beyond to support our tiny operation, it would really help if you signed up to support us on Patreon for just $4 a month. You can find that link in the description of this video. But even if you can't, just keep watching. See you next week.